In this video, I'm going to be explaining how to install the Smart Shock Collar on your avatar, and as well as if you do have a shock collar you want to set up, I'll be explaining how to set up the Pishock and OSC program the correct way. Without further ado, let's get started. First, open up your VRChat Creator Companion and find the file of the avatar you want to upload. Under your Manage Projects, you will need to add the Gesture Manager and Avatar 3.0 Manager plugin. If you don't use the Creator Companion, links to both the Gesture Manager and Avatar 3.0 Manager's GitHub will be in the description. After you open your Unity file, you're going to want to locate the Smart Shock Collar Unity package and then drag that into your asset folder. Make sure that everything is checked under the Smart Shock Collar Unity package. Next, you're going to want to find your avatar's hierarchy and locate your neck bone under your armature. At this point, you're going to want to go into your Shocky folder that you imported and find the Shocky Collar Mark II prefab asset and drag that under your neck bone. At this point, you're going to position and scale the shock collar / choker to however you want it on your avatar. Make sure that if you do want to place the shock collar more in line with your real life shock collar, that being on your arm or your leg, then you need to place that under the correct armature bone as well. If you do want to adjust the blend shapes of the shock collar, in order to do that, you're going to drop down the hierarchy and click on the mesh, and then in the inspector tab you're gonna drop down the blend shapes, and there are 4 different blend shapes for you to adjust, that being curved, collar height, screen size, and the ear height / remove. For example, I will be adjusting the screen size on this avatar. Adjusting the screen size also means adjusting the display size. So select the display in the hierarchy and use the scale tool to size it to the correct proportions and rotate it if need be. If you're unsure with how big the display size should be, a good gauge is you want the screen to stay within the red corner. Next, we'll be adding the parameters onto your avatar by using the VRlabs Avtar 3.0 Manager. Once you have the manager open, you're going to want to drag your avatar from your hierarchy into the Avatar 3.0 Manager and drop down your FX layer. Scroll down until you see Add Animator to Merge option. Select Add Animator to Merge, and in your Shocky folder you're going to want to select the Shocky animator and drag it over. Scroll down again and select Merge on Current. Next, you're going to want to select your parameters and scroll all the way down. At this point, you're going to want to drag the param expression menu into the parameters to copy and select Copy Parameters. Next, we'll be adding the sub menu by first selecting your avatar and locating the expressions menu under your avatar descriptor. With the menu selected, you're first going to want to lock it in the inspector window and then select Add Control. You can name this control whatever you want, but in my case, I will name it Smart Shock Collar. Under Type, change it to a sub-menu. Next, you're going to want to locate back to your Shocky folder and drag the Dice Game expression menu into the submenu location. If you want to add an icon to your menu, you can do so by going into the texture and mesh folder and dragging the Gamble logo on to the icon. Now I will be testing that the avatar works by using the Gesture Manager plugin we installed earlier. Locate the gesture folder and drag the Gesture Manager prefab into your scene. At this point, you're going to want to unlock the inspector and enter play mode in the Gesture Manager. Once Unity enters play mode, you're going to want to select back into the scene menu. At this point, your smart shock color should be in its sleeping animation, and we're going to go into your expressions and find the smart shock color menu that we created earlier and turn the power on. If you installed the smart shock color correctly, you should see the face switch from sleeping to its idle animation. At this point, if you do not want to set up your Pishock with OSC, your avatar is ready to upload. Now, I will describe how to set up your OSC Pishock code so it links with your avatar. You will need to locate your distribute folder that you downloaded and make sure that you have the Shocky code exe and the Shocky variable pull text document. If you open up the Shocky variable pull text document, you should see these 4 values that you will need to change: the API key, the username, and touch points. The name variable is optional if you want to change. The first variable we'll be getting is the username variable. To do this, you want to go to pishock.com/pound/account and find your actual Pishock username. You want to copy your Pishock username and add it to the text document as seen. Next, we'll be getting your API key. To do that, simply click Generate API Key. This API key is then copied and pasted into the text document as shown. It doesn't matter that you see the API key I am showing you because I can always change it by simply generating a new one. Next, we'll be updating the touchpoint variable by going to pishock.com/pound/control. Once you're there, you're going to want to click the Share Links and generate a new share code. You will then copy the share code to your clipboard and paste it back into the text document next to the variable touchpoints. At this point, the name is optional. You do not have to change it, and you're going to want to file and save your text document. Next, we will be testing that the Pishock OSC works by first creating an empty object in your scene. I name mine sender, and then you're going to want to add component and add a VRChat contact sender. Under collision tags, click add and add the hand collision. Be sure to position the center away from the collar in the scene. Next, go enter play mode in the Gesture Manager. Select back to scene and go to debug, open sound control, and start on VRChat ports. At this point, you can go back into your expression menu, but before you switch your color on, you need to launch the included OSC Shocky code. Once the code is launched, you should see your generated API key, username, and touchpoints that you put into the text document. Next, you're going to want to power on the shock collar in your expression menu and change the mode to how you like. Next, I'll select the sender and position it over the shock collar for a brief second. You should see an animation and a feedback of the value that you got hit for if you're in the shock mode. You can open up the OSC code and you should see touchpoint registered and all the data that it is received. If your request was successful, that means that the Pishock website should have received it. You can check that the code was received by going to the Pishock website and clicking your logs. You should see either a vibrate or a shock value depending on what you selected. Now that you have set up your Pishock, feel free to mess with it in the expressions menu and see what different modes do different things, such as the vibrate mode, different min and max values, cooldown settings, duration settings, and of course idle lock. It is important to note that you should turn on OSC in your radial menu in VRChat in order for this to work. Your smart collar should be fully set up now, and if you did do the Pishock settings, it should be working with your Pishock. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me in Discord. As for the Pishock, the best way to get acclimated to it is to just launch VR and give it a shot. There's a lot of different things you can do, and it's usually a great icebreaker for the most part. But anyways, have fun and good shocking.